Alright, hello everyone, my name is Michael SK and welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. So in the last episode, Amane built up the courage, or whatever, to go back to the site of the incident where she was for those weeks, pretty much dying with her friends slash teammates. So she's going there with Yuuji. Also in the last episode, we encountered a strange man who I guess seemed like a ghost. And maybe with a mix of snake because he was sneaky as fuck, but I don't know. I have some suspicions about him, but I'll keep them to myself. And we'll just get back into it. We're doing Cockroach Nest. I don't know if that's just going to be the name of the rest of this, or if this is just a really long chapter. I don't know. But whatever. We are on our way. So our destination's about 2.5 hours away from Mihama Cape by highway. While I'll admit to a little unease at letting Amane take the wheel, it'd be difficult to complain, given her obvious technical skill as a driver. The mini-truck accelerates smoothly as we pull into the fast lane, its 4-cylinder engine purring. Hell yeah, dude, it sounds like my car. Well, yeah, since we don't have a load in the back. Nah, dude, let's risk it. Hardly necessary. Any more pressure and it'll ride rough once we're off the highway. Just turn the wheel into the sway, alright, and keep our weight evenly distributed. Focus on directing the rear driver's side tire and we shouldn't fishtail. Right, like you're gently turning onto an exit. You've lost me now. In any case, all I'm saying is, we've got 4 tires on this thing, so make good use of them all. Nah, that's an exaggeration. I do, but I also know what you can do. I wouldn't have said that just to anybody. What? Yes, we really are. That should be really obvious at this point. What's that supposed to mean? Can't deny it. In a lot of ways, Kazuki raised me more than my parents did. Don't get so transparently depressed at every little thing I say, will you? I don't want to tiptoe around trying to be tactful. It's a pain in the ass. Kazuki isn't as delicate a subject for me as you seem to think. Not that I can completely laugh it off, but there's no need to get gravely serious every time I mention her name. And for what it's worth, I'm not trying to torture you about her death either. Yeah, I know. When you want me to bully you, just say the word. I'll play along unless I have something better to do with my time. Huh. Don't laugh at me, woman. This is as much as I can do. I push and pull Amane around, keep her hands so full that she doesn't even have the time to get depressed. And in the darkest moments, I scold her outright. You've got a responsibility to live for my sake. I won't allow you to run away from it. That's all I can do for her, but I believe it'll be enough. I believe she'll be saved someday. I have to believe that. But for now, Amane still recoils from happiness, sinking into strong depression at the best of times. If the weight grows too heavy for her to bear, she tugs on my sleeve so that no one else can see, then whispers into my ear. Always the same words. Hey, bully me. I need my punishment for the day. Please. Tormented and teased, she finds the peace of mind that eludes her in moments of gentle kindness. I've accepted Amane and that strange contradictory jumble of emotions just as she's accepted me. We'll work through them together from now on. I don't know how many years that'll take. If things go badly, Amane might be like this for the rest of her life. But as long as I'm able to tag along, I will. Huh. No, just kind of amused at myself, thinking seriously about the future and all that. I try not to, personally. It just stresses me out. I guess so. Everyone does, don't they? Sooner or later, everything that lives reaches the same future. In other words, death. Wow, I didn't really think that needed to be explained. I've imagined mine a number of times. No, imagine might not be the right word. I've brushed against a very real possibility of death a number of times, implanting the awareness that I might well lose my life this way in my mind. And in those visions, I always died alone, without exception. I leave the world with all the dignity of a stray dog in a ditch. No one grieves. No one gets a phone call. My corpse is disposed of in a business-like manner. And that's that. That's how I'd always seen it playing out. For a long time, I scraped my way through life, unable to consider even my own path. And now I'm seriously thinking about the future for the sake of a single woman. If that's not laughable, what is? Dying. That's an amazingly vague question. What are you asking me specifically? I get it. You want me to propose? And maybe I should too, because I don't really know the definition of that. Of course, I'm thinking about marriage as well. But since I've been living pretty selfishly and irresponsibly up until now, it's honestly kind of difficult to even imagine. I've never lived the sort of life I could tell others about with pride. I'm pretty sure the idea of leaving any trace of my passing through this world has always repelled me. I didn't want to get married, much less have kids. I didn't want to take on anything that would be left behind after my death. Same reason I've never owned more property than I can carry on my back. But I'm starting to think that for Amane's sake, I'd be willing to throw that lightness away. If so, I run smack into a logistical problem. Of course, I'm referring to my job. Amane, the truth is, I'm currently at something of a loss. After another 1.5 years at my job, my field term's up. Should I renew my contract, spend a year as an instructor while sitting exams, and aim for promotion? Or should I resign, become a permanent reserve, and look for other work? Which would you prefer? She doesn't exactly know where Yuuji works. That hasn't been discussed, I believe. The biggest difference would be in the level of danger. If I renew my contract and get promoted, my risk will go way down, but that also means my total salary will drop sharply. Whereas, if I become a reserve member, I'll be able to take on a day job, so my earnings depend on my abilities. But when called back for emergency service, my jobs won't be any less dangerous than they are now. I guess we're kind of just like putting it out in the open. I can't remember if at some point in this, this has been a very long route. I don't remember anything. I think JB told Yuuji that he was not supposed to talk about his job, but I think she has a vague idea of what the job is. But you know, even if I renew the contract, it's going to be difficult for me to move up the ranks since I didn't attend a specialized school. It'd probably take me 10 years to make assistant section chief, and getting any further would be even harder. Impossible wouldn't be far off. My base salary today is 187,300 yen a month. Promoted, 233,600. Even if I work until retirement age, maybe 449,100. It's not impossible to get by on when you add in the benefits and bonuses, but I also can't tell if that's a lot of money either. Right, our company's got a pay scale, so the salary corresponding to every rank is clearly defined. For the moment, at least. But that's also dependent on circumstances. If an emergency develops and some big shot says, "Protect me even if it costs your life," I wouldn't be able to disobey. Nope. Well, you can try, but when your superiors say, "Volunteer step forward," hanging back isn't really an option. When you get right down to it, that's what they're paying us for. But then again, if I die on the job as a formal employee, there'd apparently be 100 million yen payment to my family.
そういう問題じゃないと思う。
If I become a permanent reserve instead, I'll still be called up for emergencies, but operating under the table, I can work a little more flexibly. I'd be able to play dirty behind the scenes without anyone complaining. I might be able to pull through serious crisis through skill and craftiness, not an option for a normal employee.
結局どっちが安全なの?
As long as there aren't any dramatic upheavals, whatever, in the world, renewing the contract and becoming a regular employee carries less risk. But in the case of a large-scale emergency, being a reserve would be comparatively safer.
微妙。ユージはどうしたいの?
All things considered, I'd want to become a permanent reserve and look for another job. If we get married and start a family, I want to be able to tell my kid what daddy's job is.
そこまで考えてるんだ。
Hell yeah, dude, that actually is a good thing right there. I like that out of Yuuji. Don't sound so surprised. Just whose fault do you think that is? A little while ago, I wasn't thinking more than a day or two ahead at most.
それっていいことなんだよね。
Probably, yeah.
私はユージの決めた方で構わないよ。契約更新してお給料が安くても私も働けばいいことだし、他の仕事に就きたいならそれでも構わない。
Even on permanent reserve, they're going to keep me on a short leash for 5 years. I'd need to apply in advance to move into a new home or travel abroad, and I won't be free to pick any job I want either.
それでも他の仕事がいいんでしょ? 大丈夫。仕事が見つからなかったら2人で長距離トラックの運転手でもやろうよ。
That'd actually be pretty fun. Would you seriously be okay with that?
いいんじゃない? 私タイヤのついてる乗り物大好きだし、意外と似合うと思うな。
Well, come to think of it, I do have a lead on a job, I guess. Not that anything's been settled yet, but the principal floated the idea of taking me on at Mihama.
え、先生になるってこと?
That'd be pretty sick, dude. Damn, dude, fucking Professor Kazami. Nothing's decided yet.
でも何の先生になるの? そっか。うちって体育の先生いないよね。体育の先生は?
Hell yeah! Like I keep trying to tell you, nothing's decided yet.
でもそれすごくいいと思うよ。さっきの子供の話じゃないけどさ、パパは先生ですってすっごくわかりやすいんじゃない?
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I guess so.
そうか。そうだよね。結婚か。
I was planning to introduce myself to your family pretty soon, but marriage would be a ways off yet. Have to get a job first, at the very least.
そうだね。それでも嬉しいな。なんだろう、なんか急に生きる希望、そんなのが見えてきた感じ。
I was gonna say, like, teenagers in high school, when you think that things are going to work out with your high school relationship and you're gonna get married very soon. Usually doesn't work out that way, but I think having that optimism and just believing that that is a possibility is something that Amane needs at a time like this. That's a good thing. Told you. Optimism if you put it nicely. Wishful thinking if you don't. I think it was Kazuki who told me they're both manifestations of a psychological self-defense mechanism that keeps us from committing suicide. But whichever this is, I'll take it. I don't think daydreams and theoretical scenarios are going to save Amane, but it's not a bad place to start. Alright. We are in a different location now, so that's something. We arrived at the parking lot. Oh man, it's the sad music. Fuck my life. We arrived at the parking lot beside the mountain a little after 10, slightly behind schedule. Since we didn't know where the trail up the mountain began, we stopped into a diner and asked around, but apparently the crash site has become somewhat popular among local kids as a haunted spot. So the answer we received was, what, you too? And a judgmental glare. After we explained that I'm a bereaved family member, they finally pointed us toward the unmarked entrance. The utterly deserted path up the mountain had a gentler incline than I'd expected. The locals rarely set foot in here, and the trickle of visitors had slowed over the years, so the trail's neglected and overgrown. By now, it's been halfway reclaimed by the primeval forest. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Took off my glasses. Things are harder to see. Not too far beyond this tangled jungle, we'd glimpsed a private golf club with neatly manicured grounds, but on this hike, our scenery consists of bristly waist-high grasses swaying in the breeze, trees sticking out of the harsh soil in odd angles, and the slanting rocky path ahead. And that surprisingly gentle incline didn't last long either. 10 minutes into the forest, the slope quickly grew intense. Thanks to the vigorous exercise and high humidity, my back's quickly soaked in unpleasant sweat. Noticing that Amane's begun to lag behind, I come to a halt and turn around to face her. You alright, Amane?
大丈夫。当時に比べれば全然歩きやすいし。
Oh, I'd fucking hope so! The path's fairly wide, probably cut through the forest with the installation of the memorial stone in mind. But even so, now and again we run into steep stretches of rock that we're forced to scramble up on hands and knees. Since we're not pushing through thick grasses as we go, it must be significantly better than it was for Amane back then, but it's decidedly not an easy stroll.
こんな道があの当時にもあればね。
Yeah, I'm pretty sure things would have worked out completely different. No use saying that now, of course. Deciding to interpret Amane's words as a monologue, I turn without comment and once again push forward on the rough mountain path. The further we advance, the twistier the road grows, and the more frequent and severe its ups and downs. Just as an experiment, I take out my M2 compass and open the lid. At a glance, the magnetic needle seems to be pointing north. Maybe dry compasses are harder to influence? But having finished sighting, I lower the compass to chest level, and the needle immediately begins to shake. And when I place the compass on the ground itself as a test, the needle swings dramatically and fixes itself in a completely impossible direction. I take out my phone and flip on the GPS as if to say, well, how about this? But while the latitude and longitude display accurately, the mapping gets me nothing but a no signal message. I see. This is rough. I'm standing on a well-defined trail right now, so I don't feel any anxiety, but a quick visual survey of the surrounding area reveals nothing else that could serve as a landmark. Without this path, glancing over your shoulder for a moment would probably be enough to completely throw off your orientation. Where a powerful blizzard may create a temporary whiteout, a jungle this dense produces a permanent greenout. We've spent maybe 3 hours now hiking up the mountain. It's been 30 minutes since our third short breather. I'm just about to suggest our second longer rest when I notice when Amane's grown extremely quiet. The look in her eyes suggests that we've reached familiar scenery.
多分こっち。
Oh shit. Letting Amane take point, I follow a little ways behind. Before long, we arrive in a gaping rocky ravine, surrounded on all sides by overhanging trees. Ah, we're here.
あの当時とほとんど変わってないんだね。
Yep, it's the good old bus that fucked everyone. The rusted, ruined bus is still lying where it fell 6 years ago. Most likely, it was simply impossible to remove it from this place. Yeah, honestly, it's not gonna move. That's very heavy. There's no way they can get the equipment to get this removed. That is some heavy shit.
そっか。あっちの方向に進めば3時間ぐらいで道路に出られたんだね。
But there's no way they could have known that. If you had a trail leading right to it. Even when aiming directly for a clear landmark, it's often impossible to keep yourself traveling in a straight line through a dense forest. You take so many detours to avoid obstacles that your direction will eventually be thrown off. In my company, new employees receive compass-based navigation instruction as part of their final training. After mastering basic compass operation, the final part of this little course involves throwing the newbies into a dense jungle with only a rough handwritten map, and absurdly demanding they find their way to a specific point. Given a halfway adequate path, it wouldn't even be a challenging hike, but in a primeval forest without even animal trails, it's no joke. Even in the end, the majority lose their way and give up. And these are adults who've spent who've just spent a number of days learning how to orient themselves under difficult conditions. In some cases, they'll spend a good 4 hours or so hiking through the woods with the crude map in one hand, only to find themselves back where they started, the instructors sneering, "What's wrong, forget something?" If anything, you did a hell of a job finding your way out of this place at all.
多分私が脱出できたのは偶然みたいなものなんだと思うよ。本当にこっちで合ってるのかなって、私自身半信半疑で歩いてたし。それでも和樹の言う通りにしていればきっと助かるって信じていたから。
Well, I mean, I feel like I've said this earlier, but Kazuki was right. She was going to get her out of here. As she spoke, Amane's downcast eyes fixed on the dignified, striking granite cenotaph standing before us. It seems to have been a while since the last visitor. The flowers placed before the monument are thoroughly withered, and the offerings of drinks and cakes have clearly been battered by the elements. After cleaning them away, Amane silently places the bouquet and snacks she bought in Mishima Cape on the table set up for offerings, then sets up and lights her incense sticks.
来るのが遅くなってごめんね。
Crouching down in front of the stone, Amane shuts her eyes and brings her hands together.
正直私はまだみんなのことが怖いよ。でも逃げてるだけじゃどうしようもないから、私もう逃げるのをやめるよ。私が逃げ出した後、みんながここでどうなったのかはわからないけど、きっと楽な死に方はできなかったんだよね。みんな死んじゃったのに私だけ生き残って、許してなんて言えない。許されようなんて思うこと自体がずうずうしいことだって分かってる。だからもう謝らないよ、私。その代わりこれからはずっとお礼を言うよ。
Oh, she learned.
みんなありがとう。
Amane's praying with an earnest, intent look on her face, but I can't think of anything to say to the monument. It's just a stone in the end. I know Kazuki's not in there, but it's not that I'm stubbornly clinging to that cold realism. I simply can't find the words to speak to my sister. I've never been able to handle this sort of thing very well. Years ago, when my American classmate Daniel Vaughn died on the job, I rushed over to his funeral. It was the same. Staring at Danny's coffin wrapped up in the stars and stripes, I found myself at a loss. Hey Danny, you're kidding, right? The first Marine's Iron Man couldn't possibly have died, right? You're just going to pop out of that thing and yell, "Hey shorty, something wrong?" with that shit-eating grin on your face, right? Stop with the crappy jokes, Danny. Those were the only words that popped into my head. No words can reach the dead. If you want to talk about something, talk about the reason they're gone. No matter how we feel about the matter, people die all too easily when the circumstances demand it. Seeking the reason for their death, or for the death of Kazuki and the others, I once asked JB for copies of the investigation reports, years ago now. Unexpectedly, the documents indicated most had died of acute digestive diseases, specifically orally transmitted infections, mainly colitis and hepatitis. The investigators conjectured the group had died in rapid succession, perhaps 2 to 4 days after symptoms first emerged. The source of the infections was almost certainly the bushmeat they'd added to their diet. Was the origin of their illness the dog they'd eaten after its death from sickness? Or perhaps...
みんなをバラバラにしたのは誰なんだろうね。
right? I love it when I predict what Yuji's gonna say. Yes, the corpses discovered in this place had all been severely mutilated, with the lone exception of Yoshihiko Ochi, the club's advisor. That disturbing scene dominated coverage of the accident, overwhelming the truth through sheer spectacle. The phrase dismemberment murders took on a life of its own, ultimately leading to a public suspicion that the sole survivor might have been the criminal responsible for leaving those gruesome corpses behind. But take a halfway serious look at the results of the investigation, and you'd see the autopsies suggested the bodies had been cut apart only after death. And since Amane had escaped from the valley before the estimated times of death for most of the corpses, it was simple enough to surmise she couldn't be responsible for their mutilation. There were plenty of whispers and internet rumors suggesting that Amane must have deceived the investigators about the timing of her escape. But in any event, this was received by the authorities as the speculation it was, and the potential case against her was never pursued for insufficient evidence. The next target for the buzzard's innuendo and slander was Yoshihiko Ochi, recorded in the report as the only corpse among the 13 discovered intact. After all, a mass murder of female students by their own teacher was an even more attractive storyline for the classless scum of the world. Since it had a stronger tinge of scandal than the alternative, the media leapt onto this new theory with all the enthusiasm of a dog thrown red meat, adding in insinuations of sexual assault toward his pupils for spice. Gotta love the media. With their slander, they tore apart Ochi's starved, pitiful corpse for more cruelly than any knife could have. In consideration of the extreme, extenuating circumstances, no posthumous charges were ever filed against Ochi, but much like the lone surviving girl, society presumed him guilty. Very quickly, the name Yoshihiko Ochi became infamous throughout Japan, the young teacher who had committed a mortal sin that no circumstances could extenuate. Apparently, his only surviving relative was the single mother who had raised him. He had been his mother's one and only child, finally gifted to her after passing 40. And after the details emerged, everyone around her offered their consolation for this loss by shunning her as the woman who birthed a demon. Hiding as best as she could from the public eye, she scrapped out a miserable existence. She had a grave built for her son, but it was cruelly vandalized again and again. On shopping trips, young children shrieked demon hag to her face. In the end, worn down by the stones and arrows of her neighbors, she died a solitary death in the tiny single-room apartment that had been her final refuge. Who cut them up isn't the problem. To keep history from repeating itself, the only thing that matters is understanding why.
でもそれだけじゃ面白くないんだろうね、きっと。
The hell's wrong with this country anyway? Maybe I don't have the right to complain as someone who was born and raised in Japan and never tried to change a thing about it, but I've also seen this country from an outside perspective, and it routinely makes me sigh in disgust. Wherever you go, people are fundamentally no better than they are anywhere else. I know that rationally, and I've experienced this many times, but it always brings on a nauseating surge of bitterness. I'm fully prepared to die the unappreciated death of a stray dog, but every time I feel this familiar wave of disappointment, I can't help but wonder what I've been crawling through the mud to fight for. It makes me want to vomit. Amane, are you done yet? I'm starting to feel a little sick to my stomach.
ありがとう、付き合ってくれて。大丈夫?
Yeah, but I don't want to hang around this place much longer than necessary. Let's dig up whatever Kazuki buried and get out of here.
でも何が入ってるんだろうね。ちょっと見るのが怖いよ。
It's probably a finger. Just to freak her out. Reasonable enough, there's no telling what's going to come out of that hole. Even Kazuki's last will and testament might not be so bad on the scale of possibilities. Considering the circumstances back then, if by any chance we were to dig up her decapitated head... Even understanding that the idea is absurd, I learned a long time ago not to put anything past Kazuki. Even the physically impossible. Kazuki, huh? For a long time, I'd almost never spoken my sister's name, but lately, it's been different. On the black cenotaph, presumably built by the families of the victims, that name is listed with all the others. The names of the 13 who died in this place. Kaneda Saya. I have to read all of these? God fucking damn it. Alright guys, I'm sorry. This is gonna suck. I'm gonna pronounce these names completely and utterly terrible. Alright, Kaneda Saya, Komori Megumi, Haruka Tamaki, Sakurai Mifuyu, Shikanai Tsukasa, Ozawa Yoko, Okabe Tomo, Sakuma Minori, Ibuki Haruna, Kazami Kazuki, at least I can do that one right, Ochi Yashihiko, Koida Ritsu, Sakashida Kiyaki, whatever. As I run my eyes across the list engraved into the smooth stone, something catches my attention. Sakashida Kiyaki? That name. Hold on.
おっとっとですよね。これは失礼。私は坂下と申しましてね。天音さんの大ファンなんですよ。
Could it be a coincidence? No, that's...
ユージ、どうしたの？気分でも悪いの？
Quiet! Oh shit. Oh no. Alright, we'll see what happens next time. Oh shit, dude! Oh my god. Oh, there's gonna be some crazy shit happening in the next episode. I actually can't wait to record it. Alright, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like and subscribe for more. Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Holy shit.